Thank you, Noel.
No.
Technology. Welcome tonight to Town Council's regular meeting of November 14, 2023. Tonight's meeting will be prefaced by a public hearing. So with that, Noel, will you call the roll?
Tim Slocum,
Here.
John Walsh, Peter Talbot, Jim Jenks, Sandy Pavano, John Mylon, Sylvia Nichols, David Boer, and David Veller.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. Please rise for the pledge.
Nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
So in case you've forgotten, I'm going to go to the public hearing now. The public hearing subject matter is the authorization for a new capital project for Cheshire Community Pool aqua enhancements in the amount of $865,000 with the anticipated funding of $500,000 steep grant and allocation from the ARPA funding in the amount of $365,000 to fulfill Cheshire match. So with that, we've done the roll. We had the explanation of the public hearing basically is if anyone has questions, comments to make, they may do so when that after hearing has been presented. So would you read the call, Noel?
Town Council of the Town of Cheshire will hold a hearing at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 84 South Main Street, Cheshire, Connecticut, to consider the authorization of a new capital project for Cheshire Community Pool aquatics enhancements in the amount of $865,000 with anticipated funding of a $500,000 grant and an allocation from the ARPA funding in the amount of $365,000 to fulfill town's match. Electors and citizens will be heard at the public hearing concerning this matter dated at Cheshire, Connecticut, this 11th day of October 2023.
Thank you, Noel. So with that, I'm going to ask our manager to give an explanation of what's going on here. Sure. Any questions? Follow on with them.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this item discussed at the last council meeting, and we're thrilled to be in receipt of $500,000 steep grant that we had applied for. This project would bring the splash pad to the outside of the Cheshire Community Pool. This was something the council had approved during the master planning for the Bartlett South and the entire Bartlett project area. So we're thrilled to be able to get the $500,000 grant to offset the costs. Also includes repairing and fixing and actually getting a splash feature, a smaller version inside where the kiddie pool currently is and is functioning should. So this addresses both that issue and also builds an exterior splash pad in the grass outside of those garage doors on the west side of the community pool building. Because over $250,000 is subject to a hearing, hence the hearing tonight. Even though the total amount being offset $500,000 is not a referendum. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Any members of the public with a question, a comment? Well, hearing none, seeing, I'll call for a close of the hearing. This brings us back to regular agenda. We begin with public communications, and we start with a proclamation and recognition of John White. John White is in the audience. He's one of the guys over there, the important cap, one of our veterans, an important member of the town. I do have a proclamation. You're together with some of your friends and colleagues in arms, if you will. I was going to go down there, but I was also going to invite them perhaps to give you some venerable support a man's stature deserves, and they're welcome to come to the day as well. So let me go down there and take care of this. I also thought, in the interest of such a nice group of guys, gentlemen here, that if they had something they might want to add, I would give them the time to do that. But first of all, how about if you come here and I'll read this. Okay. This is a certificate of recognition for White. Whereas John White served in the U.S. Navy from 1961 to 1965 during the Vietnam War as a naval officer, and where he was a local VFW post 10052 commander for 2 years, a lifetime member of the American Post number 92, and a member of Army Air Force Roundtable Connecticut since 1992. And whereas John White instrumental element in construction the Medal of Honor Plaza and initiating the naming of a portion Route 10 as the Medal of Honor Highway, and whereas he has led Cheshire Memorial Day Parade as honorary marshal for over 10 years and has been the lead in the parade committee for numerous years. Whereas a former teacher of town has been proactive in making sure that both students and all members of the committee are kept aware of the importance of honoring our veterans, flag, and country. Now, therefore, Tim Slocum, Mayor and Member of the Town Council, on behalf of the entire council and with all the citizens of Cheshire, do hereby recognize and publicly acknowledge John White for his unwavering support and service on behalf of veterans. Dated 14th day of November. Mr. John. Now, John, and I know you will own this if I give it to you. So what I would like first to do is just inform council colleagues of a very, very wonderful evening last Friday, where this lean man, for his years, almost sat in the plaza, the Valor Medal of Honor Plaza, and was ultimately cloaked with the quilt of valor in a very moving, touching ceremony, which I think he deeply was affected by and most appreciated it, I am sure. But it was a cold and chilly night, attended by all of these gentlemen here and many others, and I think with a special message to our youth to bring them into this community, understanding the value and importance of veterans. So, John, I'm now this to you, and you take the time you need.
Oh,
Say what you will.
can you be all right in back? I moved to Cheshire 1950. That's 73 years ago. And I've been here long enough for the natives to start accepting me. But I feel blessed to be American, a resident of Cheshire, and the freedom which we Americans enjoy would not be possible except for the services and sacrifice of veterans. I'm not holding myself up as an example of that. I'm pointing it out because world affairs don't always seem propitious for us. We read in the daily papers and hear on the news that we are standing on the edge of World War III. And World War III, if it's fought with nuclear weapons, would be followed by a return to the Stone Age. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to have gone to college on the Navy ROT scholarship, and pardon me if I'm tongue-tied here, it's called due to brain fog.
Well, you don't have to go.
I want to close with this. there's a bumper once which read, "If you can read this, thank teacher." And under that, someone written, "If you could read this in English, thank veteran." Veterans are here to serve and are proud to be a part of the defense of freedom, with America leading the way to what we all hope will be a better world, and a world without war. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thank you, gentlemen. This is pretty in the fog. Thank you again, Jim. Okay, with that, are there any public comments to be requested or made tonight on anything that's not on the agenda? Anyone out there? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on to,
Mr. Chair, if I may enter at this stage, I just wanted to make sure that I know that there's some people that are probably looking to speak on some of the items that are on the agenda, and just wanted to make sure that they will be afforded that opportunity.
well, here's what's going to happen. That says may and not shall. So because we did close our public hearing on the 10th of October, we did do as a council our due diligence, visiting both South Central and Cheshire. It is now time for the council to deliberate on those things. So please remain in audience, but we will not be taking additional public comment or question. So thank you for that, Mr. Talbot. So we'll now move to number 4, which is approval of the minutes. The minutes of October 10/23. Oh, yes, sir.
Want to make a public comment, not an item on the agenda?
Could you just, yeah, at the mic, please.
My name is James McKay. I resided at 272 Beacon Drive, Cheshire. And I want to make a comment about your public audience section. In 1977, between 1977 and 1980, a resolution was passed by the council pertaining to open up discussion so people would have a voice at every single meeting and not have to wait till the item comes up on the agenda 2 hours later. And somewhere along the line, we've deviated from the concept. I hope the council, and I would hope this council would make exceptions and let the people who came tonight for an item to be able to speak on that item or any item during the audio section, and not wait or be told you came again, but you can't speak for 2 hours or at all. Not a democratic approach, not even a very open government approach. Thank you for listening.
My pleasure. So with that, I'll now move on to the approval of minutes of October 2023, Town Council meeting minutes of October 17, 2023, and the Town Council special meeting of October 30, 2023, and the council meeting of November 2, 2023, that being a site look. We have a motion, we have a second. Thank you. All those, this discussion, all those in favor. Motion carries unanimously, those present. Okay, we now go to consent. Mr. Bowery.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolved that the council approves resolution 111423-1, the consent calendar for November 14, 2023.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify. Motion carries unanimously, those present. We now move on to the acceptance and I went too fast. Items removed from consent list. We move on to the school building committee update. Tonight, I believe, thank you, Mr. Rosenblatt. welcome and thank you for coming. Please be seated. And if you'd like to be seated, stand if you will, but we're ready to have you. Come
May it please the council, I'm Greg Rosenblatt, Bellamy Road in Cheshire. I'm vice chair of the Next Generation School Building Committee. I'm presenting this update at the best of our chairman, Mr. Rich Gusenberg. Design development. Architects have been meeting working group, including school administrators and staff. In the past month, the group has done room by room in review, as well as reviewing grounds, main issues, and transportation needs. The process is on schedule to be completed by the end of the year. All school projects are on schedule for occupancy in September 2026. Both the construction managers and the owners reps review the detailed schedule each month, note key upcoming dates to our committee, and they're on budget and time as of now. Community meetings, multiple meetings have held over the past month and a half. The architects, Tech1, Arcadis, and O&D school personnel and our committee members participated in 4 in-person meetings and 2 online meetings to review plans and gather community input. Those were positive with value suggestions from many community members. On the mechanical electrical systems, on October 30th, the architect, engineer, and the chair committee met with Cheshire Energy Commission to review our plans. Various energy systems were discussed as financial constraint and state requirements. The Inflation Reduction Act was discussed at length. Our chair, Arcadis, our owner's rep, to look into the potential for receiving grants under the Inflation Reduction Act, and for our committee to view the comments provided by the Energy Commission. Exterior design for the Norton School. Committee continued to work the architects to finalize a site plan and exterior renders for the Norton School. The architects had previously presented 4 different plans. Each one was revised based on input of the committee and the public, and the committee worked with the architects to define the design that would fit with the neighborhood and a site plan that would nicely on the unique North property and provide play fields close to the school. The fifth mission, which is the photographs that we sent to the council, was enthusiastically accepted and unanimously approved at the meeting of October 26th. Traffic studies were completed for both Norton and North End schools. A review of the reports was presented at ARCI's October 26th meeting. The reports do not indicate a need for costly changes. Recommendations were better signage along North Brooksville Road and a time change to the traffic light at North Brooksville route and intersection as discussed. And lastly, the Cheshire Soccer Club approached the Next Generation School Building Committee, request additional fields at North End School, including potential irrigation and future lighting infrastructure. At this time, the architectural plans show smaller elementary size playing fields at the school. The changes requested by the soccer club are not part of our budget, and it's unlikely that most of the costs approved by the state as reimbursable costs for inclusion in an elementary school. So we've placed the Next Generation School Building Committee placed the soccer club's request on our open item list for future review. It's a future item that the council may consider after school construction is complete. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Any of my colleagues have questions? Greg, I did have one.
Yes.
I saw them last night. It may not have been live. I did watch it. It had to do with those funds that you were talking about related to the infrastructure.
The Inflation Reduction Act.
Excuse me. Yeah. And I know one of the architectural team members indicated somewhat doubtful. He also had the suggestion that a cleaning firm perhaps be considered for that. I obviously didn't delve into any cost. You probably have no clue or idea, but did seem unlikely that probably could bring some benefit, or am I misinterpreting that?
Now I have a feeling the way I understood it, and again, not 100% sure, the funds when come into the project was complete, and the requirements were fairly rigorous, and that's why they said had have an accounting firm look at it.
Right.
So I was under the impression that funds would not come to benefit the construction of the school, but may come after completion.
Oh, okay, because I may misinterpreted, but I thought they also indicated that so much of that was consumer direct, and not so much of it, or any of it
Right.
was known to be going to a municipal authority. It was most for commercial and private citizens.
Right, you're right, correct. They did mention that, but I
Right.
guess they figured we weren't excluded.
Right.
As we'll look into it, but
Right.
if we wanted to spend the money and they'd recommend accounting firm.
They'll have a feel for that, probably a meeting or so.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
My next question is, you approved the north end design.
Yes.
That got off the table, if you will. And I thought I interpreted some of the inquiry was that the architects now have the opportunity to really flesh out the design inside. Is that a quiet period for you guys? What does that mean for your committee?
It's quiet. It'll be quieter. As far as I know, we'll still have to work with the school board and school employees designing all the rooms, giving us a good idea. But I think the next thing will be approving specific materials
Which are now probably projected to be late January,
towards the end of the year.
February.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
okay. Well, I thank you. If there's no
Okay,
other
thank you.
questions.
Thank you, Chairman. Two questions. One, I had received some, I just wanted to clarify your comment about the soccer field. I had received some emails from members of the Cheshire Soccer Club to ask, could this be part of the thing? Because obviously they're looking for more fields in their station. So, and one of the things was not only would it be light, potentially a turf field as well.
Right.
And so just wanted, so it sounds like may not be in the budget.
It
Yeah, it may-
sounds like it would exceed the budget. For example, the expansion at the north end would require a retaining wall to make the field a full-size field as opposed to an elementary field, and on the budget that we have allocated.
Gotcha. And is that true? So in the south end of the Norton, was there a request for soccer at that field as well?
They would like if we put in a full-size soccer field. We're putting in, a full-size play field that potentially could be used for soccer, although I'm not sure if it's large for, the full-size field.
Okay. And the question I have, and maybe we'll focus this, but and maybe too early this question, but how do things look cost-wise? I mean, when we look at, are you seeing, as we projected this cost
Right.
long time ago? How are costs looking as we
have
go
our
forward?
owners every month gives a comparison budget and comparison time, and we keep it with the budget. For example, original school design was over budget. We made changes to bring it back to budget, and so far, according to our owners rep, they're maintaining the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One question, and I've had a couple inquiries having to do with the North End School and the sort of energy efficient hybrid system that's been proposed rather
Yes.
than the fully geothermal system. Have you guys completed your review of that, or are you continuing to consider
We're
the full
looking at
geothermal
it.
system?
We're looking at it. Did get a number of comments and recommendations from the Energy Commission. One thing, when we go to the budget, it was the original budget wasn't to be net zero. It was to be energy efficient and make completely net zero would add several $1 million to the cost that still with the budget which we have. We have our budget constraint, but we are looking at their suggestions in view of our constraints on the budget.
Okay, I know there's the initial budget cost, but there's also the life cycle cost too.
Yes.
And I'm not an expert whatsoever, but I understand the geothermal life cost more like 50 years, but I understand that the city may be only looking at 20 years. Can you kind of
It's
clarify
25,
that?
the high, yes.
Okay.
The hybrid system, which was several $1 million less, You also had the money to go other from portions of school. And that was the main reason that we were favoring the hybrid system.
Okay.
But
We're
we
still,
did- Yep.
still reviewing those. Is
Yes.
that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we did take their recommendations and at our last meeting, our chair circulated the recommendation to committee members and we'll decide which ones, look viable and we'll discuss further.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know there was a discussion about the layout of Norton with the fields, and I know since we purchased that house, there are now two entrances, two exits, from what I understand. Have you specified where the field would go and where I know there was even talk about changing the where the school.
Right, yes, we did solidify, and I don't think that's one of the pictures through, but with the additional property that was purchased, we're able to move the bus entryway a little and make it a wide turn, make, better sight lines for the buses. And up along the school on that side, I guess the north side, we're now able to fit in a field, if I may. See, may present this up there. We're now able to fit a playing field on their side of the school section.
Anyone else wants?
I've seen it pass.
I think it's an improved plan.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really,
good, yes.
And the sites are much better.
Great.
Yeah.
Building sign is much better too.
Just want to say, definitely glad we got that property. Able to get that property on North Hill. Makes a huge difference in the.
well, thank you, Mr. Rosenblatt. I think we're all settled, I believe. I believe we are.
Hey, thank you.
How about I return to you? Oh, okay, sure. Okay. Mr. White, we've already comments. Pardon me?
On his part. Yeah, it's a comment on.
What's oh, okay, fine.
Sure.
Thank you. Tim, 11 Colonial Court. I also be a member of the Board of Ed. One comment, because I don't think it got mentioned up here, but I was Energy Commission meeting on October 30th, and something that I thought was worth mentioning. I'm sure the town manager can correct, but the property that you bought cost about $200,000. A number that got thrown out during that discussion was $500,000 saved by not having to excavate right along the property. So I imagine the two of you know what I'm talking about. There's a hill there, and not having to excavate it and getting to move the driveway over most likely saves more than the cost of that parcel, that house. So thank you for that.
It did help. Agreed.
So about a year and a half ago, I was on the Board of Ed. And I made a specific recommendation for net zero buildings, and that has moved forward. And as I understand, actually, we have been teed up for potential net zero buildings. It won't be net zero. It could not be net zero at the outs because of tax implications, which are changing due to change tax law. But my understanding is we are actually potentially doing a net zero building. I thought net zero was really tantamount to lowest life cycles. It's wrong. At the October 8th Energy Commission meeting, I found this out. So I would love if the council, whatever, would basically make sure the architects are really doing a good of life cycle costs. I would love to see, and I think it could be a benefit to the town if we could do that deeper dive, determine if life cycle costs are lower with a higher initial cost. And by that, I mean, bluntly, it could mean a referendum going out. I don't know that I would support the referendum, but I do support the idea of seeing if we're getting the most bang for buck. So I want to thank you for having moved forward on this a year and a half ago. But standing here right now, I realize there more to it. Financial constraints were meant. It's something could be considered, I think. So that's why for you tonight.
I remember, Mr. White, you were part of the part I watched. And I do also recall you thought we'd have to put all this together by January so that it could go to referendum.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, and I'm on one up here, but it seems to me it'll be very, very, very difficult to ask the public for more money before we've even put a brick on the ground. I just think that would be hard to do. And so I guess the deeper dive to the building committee and whatever we can say to Sean as our representative of the council, to make sure is being done. But beyond that, I don't think the town council, whether I'm in a big part of it or a small part of it, would contemplate a referendum on that pretty soon. Hard to imagine.
Yeah, no, and I completely understand the logistics, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. My simple suggestion is it might work, and I think it would be worth looking at seriously, not for all of you, but just to architect whoever it is. Mm-hmm. Just do it, not look necessarily at a 25-year life cycle. Thank you for bringing that up. But look at it a slightly different way, because if we see the numbers on paper, and people can see it and understand it, it's possible it could referendum. And I get it, what you're saying, but I think it would be worth considering. That's it.
Right. Thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Anything else relative to the school report? Okay, we'll move then to the old business relative to Bartland Park South. Mr. Kimball.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief, but there's been a lot of activity at the Bartlett South project. The turf field area, the installation of the turf field is complete. The bathroom area is being the final design and components and all of those things are being finalized for the bathroom building. They're anticipating a change order as requested for landscaping, kind of curing of the areas around the town green / picnic grove area. So we are waiting for that final, and also a change order for electrical for the town's share of the scoreboard project, which actually is the next item and probably a segue, which we had estimated around $5,000 to $10,000 that the project would fund. But able to facilitate the very donation. That is the next agenda item. That's my update.
You're right. Mr. Bowery.
Just a quick question, because as I should have just offline, but I've had people ask me when the Great Lawn will be set up, so that possible that by next the concerts would be there and the fall festival would be there. What's the expected timing of that?
Yeah, so it's a question, and I think the answer is it depends. It certainly depends on the type of winter we have and some things that we don't know this time. They anticipate. It also depends a little bit. They're holding off on the laying out a final path for those of us that took the walk the other day. The Veterans Memorial is proposed to go. The contract is kind of wait see. We're going to have a proposal in the time frame that it makes sense before they're moving earth around again. Potentially the early spring, winter, depending on how the winter is. But they're anticipating putting the grass seed down in the spring, so it certainly could take all into fall. It's going to be a beautiful irrigated property. We want to make sure lasts and takes and isn't damaged early on. I've had initial conversation Yetta from the chair about if we did have fall festival there on the lawn, potentially not having some of the more intrusive items like the large tent that's set up that's caused some rutting and some other issues on the fields. And more to come. We have it there if we can. It'd be a great kind of kick off the new facility, which that event every year is one of the main ones in our mind as we built the Great Lawn, as everybody knows. So more to come on that. But it kind of is going to be determined by how grass has taken, and we certainly don't want to do any lasting damage to something just completed. But if it goes well, keep our fingers crossed.
Anything else? You know, I wanted just to the veteran memorial, Mr. Presumptive chair next go round. I sat in on a few meetings relative to the memorial. There is one scheduled this coming Thursday. Friday. Okay. Either way, it was going to be hard for me to make it, and I hope you'd be able to attend. But I know it's short notice, and it's helpful because I think that should be an ongoing role that's played because it's going to be an absolutely beautiful place. And it needs a little council input and oversight. Not real oversight, but you know what I'm saying. It's important, and I've been informed by it and like it. It's going to be gorgeous. It's nice. So anyway, with that, you're going to make it. That's good. I don't feel guilty. So now let's move on to new business. Our first item of business is the acceptance and appropriation of $25,000 and $25,090 for Cheshire Youth Football, Cheshire Youth Lacrosse for a score at Bartland Park South. Mr. Vell.
Thank you, Chairman. Be it resolved, the Town Council approves Resolution 1144232. Be resolved that the Town Council hereby accepts, appropriates a $25,090 donation from the Cheshire Youth Football and Cheshire Youth Lacrosse for a scoreboard at Bartland Park South.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. And with that discussion, we've had a little bit of that.
Right.
If there's any more to have.
No, I think that's great. I think we're looking at the possibility of a very, very generous donation by the Cheshire Junior Football and Cheshire Youth Lacrosse. And with that, I'll throw over to Sean to give us a little bit more information.
Sure. So I know our joined tonight. I know Federico's out here. Is anyone else? Feel free to come up. We want to just briefly be recognized on behalf of the organizations. This was something that was proposed by the groups, a donation to fund a storage area at the south east corner of the turf field. So in order to advance that project, and given where the contractor is now, work that could be done here in the next few weeks, we would like to present this donation tonight, and again, thank the funds from Cheshire Youth Football and Lacrosse for the donation. So, Mike, take it over.
And both organizations are very grateful for the town council and the project committee to take on our desire to have a score. We figured we have really first class facility going in over there, and the score would really be an enhancement, considering that could have junior varsity and youth events there. So it's a field that the high school and the community programs can use. Just for edification purposes, the scoreboard is a Nevo 3654, model 3654. It is a 14-foot scoreboard. It's not monstrous. It's really considered a basic board that covers multiple sports. So we try to keep it simple. And you can see the cost is, for simple, it's still money. But we're proud to be able to, work hard and be able to make the donation to the town to get that project. And in addition, we're also very, very grateful for the additional cost for the electrical installation as well. So, thank you.
Well, I know. I thank you, Mr. Federico. It's quite a gift. Any questions, comments from?
Oh, Sean, just quick question. Where on the field will this be set up? Is it on the southeast corner?
Southeast corner, yes. Yeah. And all, one comment too, I'm really glad that, we had a meeting with Jim Golick with Parks and Rec, and they took our recommendation about the additional netting as well, because especially if you're going to play lacrosse there, you're going to get some balls from there. So again, we were very grateful that the group lists every season. So yeah. We didn't want to make it to block the beautiful area the other side too. So any questions, just give me a call. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Guess I'll set with that. Thank you. I'll offer a vote on that. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we now move into the withdrawal from Cheshire Health District. Mr. Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Be it resolved that the Town Council approves resolution 111423-3 Be it resolved that the council hereby approves the town of Cheshire's withdrawal from the Chippewa Health District as of June 30, 2024, and authorizes the town manager or his designee to execute all necessary docs for said withdrawal.
Motion, we have a, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Discussion. Oh, yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to table.
Okay, there's a motion to table. Is there a second? Thank you, Jinx. There's a motion on the floor to table, a second. All those in favor of the motion to table signify. Opposed? Motion fails. Okay. So we now have a motion to talk. Oh, Bowery.
Mr. Chairman, I have a substitute and I would like to read. Suppose.
Certainly.
Whereas the town council, I have these three. I think it's enough of both directions. Whereas the town council has responsibility to review cost effectiveness and efficiencies with town budget. And whereas the town council has been given information by the town manager that it's possible to save significant money by changing a health district. Whereas the town council held a public hearing on October 10, met with Central Connecticut Health District October 30, and met with the current health district Chestnut on November 8th. And where significant factual information was obtained by the town council during extensive discussions that occurred at the October 30, November 8th meeting. Whereas the majority of the town council feels that the town would be well served by changing health districts. However, it is clear that a significant number of residents feel the current district is preferable. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town council resolves to establish a 5-member study committee to review the town's council findings, further instigate the options available to the town, including the implementation of inventory, finance, and operational covenants, as well as making its own things regarding the best option for the town council health district services. The committee shall consist of 5 members, no more than 3 of them shall be from the same political party, as shall appointed by the mayor council chairman by December 31, and shall report to the town council by April 1 with their recommendation. Further resolved, the town manager is authorized to enter negotiations for a memorandum of understanding regarding the change in financial and operating covenants Chestnut offered during the town council meeting of November 8th.
Motion on the table. Is there a second? There's a second. Thank you, Oliver. Discussion. Question. Mr. Mylone.
I appreciate David's motion here. I think it's thoughtful and it may, in some instances, be appropriate. I'm uncomfortable with it because I feel that it's in limbo relative to the future of the health district. I'm not sure if that's right for the community at large. It's definitely right for Chesbrook to not know where to be months or a year from now. Hard to operate a business, any type of business, not knowing if have a viable future. And for that reason, I think it would put too much burden on Chesbrook and not enough definition to residents of the town to be effective. I think this is a decision for down personally. And anyway, for that reason, I'm not supportive of this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mylone. Any other members of the council? I'll weigh in then. Mr. Talbot, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While Mr. Barrow amendment at first glance appears to be a reasonable compromise, here's why I will not support. There was plenty of time for this solution to be brought up, discussed, and to be considered. But now it appears before us at the 11th hour, unseen, and then Mr. Jinx and I are being asked to support it. I also think it is very unfair to the next town council, who will office just 20 days from now, to be bound by a decision that is being presented as a chance to avert a bad decision by a council majority who's literally hours away from earning their final meeting. I will not support the amendment, but appreciate very much what Mr. Barrow is trying to accomplish. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please. Matt. Thank you, Mr. Brown. I do think it's an excellent attempt at compromise. I do think it goes beyond what's expected insofar as the council has an obligation to fulfill its obligation, district decision. I believe done its due diligence, and for that reason, I don't support the resolution. So unless any further comments, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Motion fails 7-7. Which brings us to the original motion. Unless you want to hear it again, I will take comments from, I can start wherever. Who wants to be the first to opine?
Probably no one.
Oh, good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Malone.
I'm going to support the motion. I was an open-minded. I said I'm open-minded up until recently regarding this decision. I was away when this went to executive session, and I did not hear the firsthand, and I was surprised when it came up. But I vowed to do my homework and get my head into the issues here and try and help move this to a decision appropriately. I do recall sitting at a meeting of the everyone present, Democrats and Republicans all voted to this public hearing. There seemed to be no interest in trying to delay action. And so I was supportive of that as well. I was open-minded when we went to the South Central Connecticut Health District and listened to them, and thought they were very professional and a good case for why they would be an advantageous option for the town of Chester, but still remain open-minded since I hadn't heard from Chesprocott. And on a personal level, from a business perspective, I have good relationships with Chesprocott staff over many years. I did attend the meeting with Chesprocott as well and listen. And I make an analogy in my own mind and my colleagues. A while back, we appointed a building committee to help us decide how forward with our new schools. We trusted them with making decisions on behalf of the town. We had them go through a process where they selected an architect to begin that process of moving forward with our schools. I watched the process that they went through, and I know they were sincere in their efforts. And I may or may not have agreed with the decision they made. Those who know me know that I've been involved in numerous public schools throughout Connecticut over many years, and I have opinions on the performance of architects and engineers in that regard. And I'm not expressing an opinion, but I did not express an opinion to them during the process. I let them go through their process. And on behalf of the town, even though I was part of council, accepted their decision because they were, I think, in good conscience, do what was in the best interest of the town of Cheshire. I believe as a council member, I've done the same thing as I've gone through this process. And I believe we should make a decision. It's not fair to Chesprocott or the town to delay a decision. Chesprocott, as an operation, can't operate without knowing if they're expected to be a long-term entity to the town of Cheshire. Decisions can't be made that are in the best interest of their or the town. And so they deserve a decision. The town deserves a decision. Based on everything that I listened to into those meetings and evaluating the both financial and the operational aspects of both entities, I think it's pretty obvious that the South Central Connecticut Health District is more preferable place for the long term of Cheshire. Nothing against Chesprocott. I just think that operation is more stable and in a better position to support Cheshire in its increased population growth. For that reason, I'm going to support this
Motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smilone. Anything else?
Done.
You go ahead.
Many of you know me. I've at this table for 13 years, and I've been I've been presented with many challenge decisions. This is not unusual. I've made difficult decisions, but no decision that I've ever made has been without evaluating the impact of the entire budget and the delivery of towns and service to the residents and business of Cheshire. Our needs are increasing. Our economic development is growing the town. And as we sit at this council table, and Peter and the next council at this table, they will be evaluating each department and the services we provide to make sure they're capable of maintaining level of expected service at a reasonable cost to the taxpayers. You'll hear from other colleagues tonight as well. We have received numerous public staff and private concerns regarding the financial management, personnel management, and delivery of services by Chesprocott. Acknowledging these and the concerns clients, employees, and professionals, the council received information from the Chesprocott director and board with sometimes incomplete or insufficient responses for almost 2 years. We've had conversations with financial and legal advisors and reviewed options of the health districts in Connecticut for over the last year. With respect to the personnel and management issues, internal findings were not made public until they could be confirmed or addressed, or the information would be violating the privacy of the individuals involved. As a result of our due diligence, our responsibility demanded that we invest alternate service providers as we planned for this year's budgets. We spent several months fully researching near health districts, and the Chesprocott required only notice be given withdrawal by December 31st. Should that be the decision tonight, Chesprocott will maintain the responsibility to continue to serve Cheshire until the end of this fiscal year. The opportunity to join South Central Health District arose in mid-August. The council began the process in September by beginning serious discussion and reviewing all the facts to determine the best outcome for Cheshire. Sean Kimball, our town manager, personally met with the mayors of Prospect to apprise them of Cheshire's consideration to withdraw. And it was immediately jumped on that we were definitely going to withdraw. And I think that was unfortunate because the decision was not made immediately. Chesprocott's director was notified by phone because she was unable to meet in person on the day that was originally scheduled. Public hearings held prior to the vote on 10th, and after that hearing, it became evident that in order to reach your concerns and the concerns of other residents and the other information we received from businesses, we required further confirmation of the information. And so we tabled the vote to do exactly that. It's our responsibility as a council, Peter's responsibility as the leader of the next council, to engage partner agencies that must be able to deliver the high level of professional service to you at reasonable cost. As a result of our due diligence, it was evident that Chesprocott was grappling with many staffing issues, which resulted in less than optimum service at rising cost. Based on all the information, the fact clearly indicated that the South Central Health District is well prepared to deliver the same or higher quality of service with respect and professionalism in Cheshire. Emergency preparedness will not suffer. Improved management and the opportunity for each district member to be represented by their operating office on the governing board of the health district will allow tight oversight of your tax dollars and timely service right here in Cheshire. For me, this is my personal statement. This is not and never was about the staff at Chesprocott, as many have been eager to suggest. It has not been a political agenda, as many people have suggested. For me, there's a simple decision made to professionally manage and provide the best services at lowest for our community. I've been elected to evaluate the facts, now to either political party in the best interest of all residents and businesses. I've sat here for 13, and I'm sure that if you look back, you will realize that I have many times made decisions that were uncomfortable. but I always felt I made those decisions in the best interest of the town. This is going to be my last substantive decision, a decision made with the same level of research and evaluation as the very first. A decision made, you documented information gathered over a 2-year period. It is the right choice, residents of Cheshire. I congratulate the new council and I wish them well. They will bring fresh ideas as they face this challenging decision. I make apologies for my record. That stands as an example of independent thinking and a willingness to let facts determine my decisions on behalf of the taxpayers of Cheshire. I will be supporting the South Health District.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Mr. Bellwether.
Thank you, Chairman. I wish we'd had more time to address this issue. This obviously came up very close with the window to discuss issue was very short. This is a very difficult decision. It's been weighing heavily on me. In fact, I was not sure how I was going to vote until we even got here. So it's not an easy decision no matter how I vote on this. But my heart tells me, to be open-minded on. I've been open-minded throughout this process. Chesprocott has served Cheshire for a long time. It is something that has been a sort of an institution, and obviously, change is scary. Change brings differences. It's not always easy to factor in there, but I recognize the very thoughtful concerns raised by this council and my colleagues. My heart tells me we need to leave Chesprocott because of the financial management service issue, which have already been discussed. Head says that the voters and residents of Cheshire are ready to let go. They have not seen the letters. I've spoken with both Chesprocott and South Central. And the comparison of both are really night and day, with South Central being more responsive and professional. Also, Chesprocott has not really kept up with their health inspections or sanitation visits in a manner, and we've received complaints about that. We cannot, Chesprocott cannot rest on their laurels. Need to continue to serve and improve. Now, Dave motion earlier, I thought was a good compromise to us to continue the discussion and review of the town options. Because I think that if there was more time to discuss this, I think people would be able to come to see what the differences are and become more comfortable with that. Unfortunately, that's not possible at this point. So as much as I might want to vote to leave Chesprocott, I do not feel the residents, especially the very dedicated volunteer who've given a lot to Chesprocott, are ready for that. And so if given a chance, I think South Central would and provide a truly wonderful opportunity for sure. Since a vote to leave will likely be over to the next council, I feel I must take the residents' recent decisions into account and provide certainty to Chesprocott. If we end up staying, I hope we can seriously and deliberately work to effectuate change within Chesprocott to some concerns we are hearing and seeing, and the relationship between Chesprocott and the various town officials. A well-functioning health district is important. Many of these changes might not have even possible or even been discussed had we not had this discussion over the last few months. But with that, I want to say that unfortunately, I think that we're ready to make that change, and I will not be voting in favor of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bellwether. Ms. Pavano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After carefully reviewing all compelling information we have, complete inspections not being done on time, excessive fees charged, and a savings over $100,000 per year, to vote to Chesprocott is the best decision for the Cheshire Bears. I support this decision.
Thank you, Ms. Pavano. Mr. Talbot, Mr. Jenkins. Talbot.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those of you that know me, I like to speak extemporaneously. Those of you that don't, I can assure you that that's the case the vast majority of the time. But tonight, with the magnitude of the issue be for us, and learning just a while ago the extra pressure that I will be speaking on behalf of several of you in the instance who are not going to be allowed to speak. I have prepared the following statement and off that at this point. Well, today certainly hasn't gone as I expected. It started this morning with a text and a phone call, which informed me that current outgoing the council majority would be voting to potentially dissolve our relationship with Chesprocott. This, despite what three people had assured me to my face less than a week ago that the resolutions tonight might be tabled. This vote is reckless, ill-timed, and create unnecessary drama for far too many people. First of all, if the vote to Chesprocott is successful, it will be overturned by next town council. Take office just 20 days from now. In the meantime, Cheshire will look foolish as we show blatant disregard for the towns of Wolcott, Prospect, Southington, Plainville, and Middlefield. We are toying with the livelihood of the Chesprocott employees and being cruel to the South Central Health District, who has been very gracious and accommodating to us throughout this entire process. I seriously wonder what the motivating factor is here. An election was held last Tuesday. Yeah.
Hey, Siri.
Let's hear what Siri has to say about it. Well, you can't mad up.
Wow, good thing this is being taken.
So I seriously have to wonder what the motivating factor is here. An election was held last Tuesday. Oh, come on. Yeah, exactly. It's on silent and everything else. Here, hold that. Sit on it or something. Take three. I seriously have to wonder what the motivating factor is here. An election was last Tuesday where 7-2 Republican majority on the council came a 6-3 minority. I don't profess to know what was on the voters' minds that day, but I am sure to some extent leaving Chesprocott was a factor. Even by forcing a vote on this resolution tonight, it shows a disregard for the voters. Personally, between the public hearing, the emails, the texts, the calls that I received, the overwhelming sentiment expressed to me is that you should not leave Chesprocott. The Chen recently referred to our partnership with Chesprocott as a marriage. I would counter by saying you don't walk away from a 47-year relationship without exhausting all possibilities. This council majority has not considered or discussed one alternative solution, with the exception of Mr. Bowie's amendment this evening. Instead, they seem determined to complete this divorce as they walk out the door. I will not support these resolutions, and I offer my sincere apologies to Prospect, Wolcott, Southington, Plainville, and Middlefield, the staff at Chesprocott, and at South Central. Thank you, Commissioner.
Mr. Talbot. Mr. Jenks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did not prepare lengthy speech because I knew that Peter would do that to me.
Would you like to see it?
I just wanted to say that I'm not supporting this motion either. There's simply no reason that we have to do this now, and we can take this up with the next council, and we will. clearly the voters have spoken, and we should respect that decision. So, as I said, I'm not supporting this motion.
Thank you, Mr. Jenks. Mr. Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I do want to address something you said. This council was elected, and we're supposed to right up to the last day. This council sat through 2 years of discussion about what's been on at Chespercott, and just ask the new council to be taking the seats up here 20 days from now to please review all the facts, review all the minutes that we have seen over the past several years. So it's just the doing your due diligence that we have done here, and I would ask you to do that. Or Mr. Talbot speaks for you and says you're going to overturn it, but ask that you look at first. And I think you owe that to the town of Cheshire, you owe that to Chespercott, you owe that to the South Central Health District. This has been a long collaboration with many staffers here. I know we on our due diligence on it. There has been a lot of misinformation that has been spread through emails and social media. It's extremely sad to me that the health illness of this community was politicized by a specific party. When we first heard of some of the issues going on, I felt we had a majority to move forward to a new health department. And then it was politicized. When I saw a sign in front of Chespercott, a public agency, supports everyone in town, said, "Save Chespercott, vote Democrat." I had to wonder who behind this? Why was it a political issue? This should not be a political issue. Many people in this town spoke out, yet many didn't know all the information that we know. And they probably won't know the information we know, because we have some personnel issues that we are familiar with that can't be put out into the public. Spent time listening to the board of directors of Chespercott. We spent time speaking to the board of directors of South Central Health Department. So I'd ask you to please indulge me for this, because I feel that the information is extremely important to get at the facts versus the misinformation that people have heard, people have read. And I'm going to start with the financial end of it. $13.50 per capita means for each person in Cheshire versus $8.75 per capita. It's $120,000 difference per year that the Cheshire would save if the South Central. Okay, some might say it's only $126,000. I will tell you, every penny that we have to spend in this town is on the taxpayers' backs, and I will not spend the taxpayers' money frivolously. It's important that we make sure that as the fiduciaries for the town, we look at every and we make sure it's spent wisely, at best interest of unity. Even we learned that it could drop the capita down to $12.15. We learned that last week. That would be if they did that, it would be operating on a $7,000, $854 deficit. Their accountant said if they did that, they would have to make difficult decisions, including possibly eliminating positions, meaning there will be less people at Chespercott who could serve the needs of the citizens and the businesses of our town. $1.22 million in a reserve fund. $1.2 million. When it was brought up to the directors, one of the board members said they didn't realize they had accumulated as much money as they had because they accountants. The blatant disregard for money and the taxpayers' dollars of this community and of Project and Wolcott. The fees that we will be charged by Chespercott will be higher. And I know going back to their old fees, even their old fees, they will be higher than what South Central will be to us. We talked about moving to this place. If we moved Arts Place, they would have to eat into the $1.2 million reserve, maybe 400,000 to retrofit Arts Place in order to make it an office for them. While doing South Central Health District, if the South Central would get back, or we'd get back at least half of money, we could get back 600,000 if it was involved, versus putting the money into our Arts Place. Back in 2021, 22, in the fiscal year, right at the beginning of COVID, Chesapicot increased per capita from $10.15 to $13.15, a 23% increase. While this council was working tirelessly and very hard to keep the bill rate level because we knew many people out of work and it was a difficult time for this community. Yet had to figure out a way to pay this extra money while there was still $1 million sitting in an account per cop. In 2021, there was an extra inconsistency that was noticed by Sean, our town manager, who we had put on the board of directors to have some oversight as to what was going on. This was during an expanded flu vaccine, which was fully paid by insurance. Sean asked in good faith to have $75,000 reduced from the per capita cost each town. When he brought the motion to the board of directors, nobody seconded it because the director preferred that it was added to the carryover revenue fund, adding more money to that end. Going to the work environment, 22 employees have been hired in 2 years. 30 have come and gone. The director is the only person left from the first 2 years of the pandemic. All others are gone. We have received several emails from former employees outlining a sick work environment. There are still ongoing significant personnel issues that are still being addressed. We have heard business owners who are afraid to speak publicly because they fear retaliation. If Chesapicot are its place to fit out using funds they have and also support them with other services as suggested by town council members, these will cost us indirectly and cost our taxpayers indirectly more money, and that per capita, whether it's 12.15 or 13.15, will be going up. And remember, it's one of the highest in the state of Connecticut. The average is around 9.15 or something like that. There is a significant number of town staff who feel, due to their interactions with Chesapicot, that we leave, including our town manager's office. I value their opinions, and I rely on their expertise in these matters, since they are the ones who are working with them day in and out. We don't work, none of us up there are working with them as often as the town staff, and we have to listen to our town staff, and they bring things like this to attention. We asked if they were up to date with their inspections. We're told that there is new software and it is very expensive, so they haven't purchased it yet. Yet they have $1.2 million in a refund. In preparing the 2023 strategic plan, they had no input from board of directors member in Cheshire. Regarding a new health department that we're looking at, it is a very viable alternative. We may not have this opportunity in the future. This group has 5 former Chesapicot employees who are familiar with our town and have helped us get through the pandemic. We will have enhanced services with a satellite office in Town Hall. The director spent 6 years at Chesapicot. They are very familiar with the town of Cheshire and businesses of Cheshire. And They be a perfect fit for this town. These people deserve an apology, not for us wasting their time. They deserve an apology for the disparaging remarks that were made towards them by people associated with Chesprocott, including some RC volunteers. We read those things, as do they, and they are very by it as well. We heard from many of them. And by the way, these people are not inexperienced like I have read in some places. They are very well experienced, and I know I would feel comfortable having them as our health department. So these are the. I hope everybody listens carefully to them. I am not one to make number spread misinformation. I have spent hours and going through the minutes and documents that we have received and speaking to many different individuals to make sure I am being accurate with this information and that I'm making the right decision. I'm also not want to worry about getting reelected if I vote to do something that I know is in the best interest of Cheshire. It's a shame that some people feel that way. That's how people have to look at this. I am confident that this is not only the most fiscally responsible decision, but also makes the most sense for the health and wellness of the people in this town. And as fiduciaries for this town, it is the right thing to do. And I fully support this.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Well, I guess it's my turn. Thank you for sitting through this. I do appreciate it. I asked for your understanding. I stated weekly public hearing, and we did, and we had, and we heard from all of you. But one thing that did come out of that public hearing was a lot of questions that were fair and reasonable. We had it as a council, not done some of that, although we had done some which forgot. So we did, in fact, visit South Central and Southington. Did that. It was a very eye-opening meeting. All of our questions were answered. There was not a question. It's competent organization I dealt with in a long time. I felt it was kind of like the town council. And in so hearing what they suggested, they have a better board, a more financially sound board, and they have a lot of staff. And as Don said, plenty of them from church. They're not just disgruntled planers. They're very serious and steady people. We obviously had an obligation to go to Chesprocott, wanted to go to Chesprocott. We met their headquarters, which, oh, by the way, is awful. It's not their fault. They have a clear reason to want new space. No question about it. It's embarrassing. I went into a bathroom because I'm old. The first bathroom I ever walked into in a health agency. I don't blame it on them. I'll blame it on their landlord. Toilet sheets shouldn't be something they have to go out and buy. But it is a public health agency. And I'm not here to talk about toilet seats. Town council appointed Sean, our town manager, to sit on the board of Chesprocott. Rob Orris approached me first and suggested that he might want to be on the Chesprocott board. And we had concerns. There were issues. He was in the tractor world. He heard more of them perhaps. But then he suggested, I think Sean would be an appropriate. He's a fiscal site. He's near to the council. And we welcomed that. We asked Sean, of course, and we appointed him. And he was stonewalled day one. Can you imagine being appointed to a board and no one wants to listen to? It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. But he prevailed with support. And in the end, he's a big, tall man. He can stand on his own 2 feet, tell us what he hears, and do his best as a member of a board. And he does. November 30th, last year, I had asked to have a meeting with the board, which is customary. You don't have you want to have a meeting with the board. If you're familiar with the board, then you've heard a few things from contractors and Sean. And so I wanted to bring issues before the board so that they would have better understanding of council expectations or council queries. Among them, we knew they had a large surplus. We didn't know where it came. It didn't really matter. We knew they had a piece of land that had been offered. We knew they to build a new headquarters building. I mean, until a week ago, I didn't know how awful their place was now. Fortunately, I haven't had to use the district office. It's disgusting. So anyway, I got to the meeting, which by the way was 6:30 in mind. I got to late. I got wrong emails, different emails going to me that were wrong. I mean, I was getting stonewalled. I shut my own meeting late. I don't try and do that, folks. Have a meeting of a board, which was very nice. They're very nice people, very nice board members, respect to all of them. And the mayors, the two other towns, Wolcott and Prospect, who, by the way, without question, very satisfied with the delivery of health services. Their town's smaller than ours. They do rely on important services. This Prospect doesn't even have a human services department. So it's an important Ashbrook has responsibility to do those services. So that's under. I'm going to take some water. And Mayor Dunn from Wolcott, really satisfied. So I don't want to say I brought an agenda to the table that everyone had the same concern for, but I wanted to use it as an opportunity to talk to that board and give them a more full understanding of what boards of directors do. We are a board of directors. He works for us. That's Sean. It's hard to imagine. We're actually opening his contract tonight, I think. That being said, in the discussions, there was an understanding that boards do have different responsibility, and yeah, that's good. That's good. So we things might get better for Sean. Hopefully they could, and they would. There was a request I made that night. One of the things, our budget process is up in March. Actually starts in January, by the way, with the Board of Ed. And we go through this process to see how we could mirror it with Scott's budget. We deal with the head tax. Head tax was just talked about. It is what it is. Basically, we have to pay for the services. You do that stuff. You don't know about that. You do it. So the budget never came. Our budget process goes on, and it is what it is. It's like you scratch your head, like what's going on. And so as anybody who has ongoing complaints goes, they listen to them. But what do you do? I've already talked to the board. You really do. Fire a director. We've saved directors from Sheshbrook. You all may not know it. That organization was down the toilet in 2000 something, a long time ago, before 2014. And we had to bail out faulty leadership at the top, just the way it goes. Their board came to the town council, spoke to the council there, and just there was trouble in the city. Trouble. Infancy. That's a problem for a health district. So we took care of our business that we had to do. The director did retire. It was a retirement issue. He had health concerns. I'm not going to berate the gentleman. He was a fine man. He did speak to us and did say they're basically insolvent. So, some go up the river for that. They retire. So that being said, the organization has been run since 2014 with Maura at the directorship. She's a crummy director. She's a crummy director and a great sanitarian. And I'm going to say it because it's true. She stonewalls, fires people. She has rapid turnover. She's just not competent manager of a budget. Now, you don't go to hell for that, but at least listened. If you knew those were some of the main concerns, because we deal today with sustainability of just about any. Sustainability is huge. We need to have a district that is healthy, financially sound, and then if it needs further support from the town, it must get it. Have to deliver services. Well, that being said, some of this doesn't sound right, doesn't sound good. You don't like it. I understand. I know that there was an election. I'm sure this factored into it. But that doesn't make what we want to do as fiduciaries for the town of Cheshire no longer necessary. It also doesn't mean that it was political. I would be the dumb politician if I thought I was going to lose my job or barely keep it. If I thought introducing something because it had a date certain, had to finish the business by December 31st, that's an idea if I thought it was political. But oh, was it political? It was so political. It stinks. And I'll tell you where it stinks. Laura Esposito is a member of the Democratic Town Committee, and God bless her for it. But to me, it's unethical. It's not illegal, but it's unethical to be a member of a political action committee and be a fair-minded advocate for every resident of this town who has an obligation to deliver health service. Now, again, it's not illegal, but I would say it's unethical. Certainly, our town manager would not do that by his own ethical conduct code, not personal, just the description. So again, it became political. I was the dumbest person for thinking it would be. I have conceded to that. But this decision is it's correct in a way. It's fiscally correct. It's best for the delivery of services that are efficient and smart, and it's operationally miles beyond the capacity Cheshire to in a sustainable long term. And that's the way it is. That's the way I feel. That's why my vote, whether you like it or not, is gonna go to get out of the organization. So with that, I think I had some work. I didn't make too many remarks. This is from the head and not the heart. So with that, I'll call for all those in favor. Opposed? Motion carries by a majority, 6-3. Oh,
6-3.
6-3. Okay. We now move to the approval of the Cheshire to join South Central Health District.
Thank you, Mr. Be it resolved that the town council approves resolution number 11443-4. Be it resolved that town council hereby the Cheshire joining the South Central Health District as the town's health provider effective July 1, 2024. Authorizes the town and is designated to execute all necessary documents necessary to join said district.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I will call then for a vote on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-3. Okay, just the budget. You get it over with the first one. Okay, so that we now arrive at the acceptance of Human Resources Generalist job description and authorization to hire. Sylvia.
Thank you. Take a breath. I don't know if I'm, is it? Is that better? Okay. Okay, technology, not my strong suit. So let's move this forward. Be it resolved that the council approves Resolution 111423-5. Resolved that pursuant to the recommendation of the Personnel Committee, the Town Council approves the Human Resources Generalist job description as presented attached. And be it further resolved that the Town Council authorizes the manager to hire for the Human Resources Generalist position. Thank you, Peter.
A second discussion.
This was discussed at the Personnel Committee at the recommendation of our new Human Resources Director. Is that your title exactly, Jamie? Would you like to come up and give us a little synopsis of why we did this? That'll give you a chance to get to us and get the public to know you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council. For the record, I'm Jean Lemire. I am the HR director. You had it right. So I've been here for almost 5 months in Cheshire, and I am an office of one. Probably one of the only offices, probably in the town that is an office of one. We have almost 200 full-time employees and about 100 part-time, and then that take into account season and temporary employees as well. So this position can be a great assistance to my office as we continue to grow and we hire and we look to new policies and revised policies. There's many things that I'd love to get into, but find myself in a situation where I'm spending most of my time just keeping afloat. So this person would be someone who can help just respond to phone calls, emails, and bring data into our financial software. But also would be very helpful for me as we prepare for negotiations, which are coming up this spring. We have 5 contracts that we'll be negotiating, and which is another great reason to have another body in the office so that my door is not closed and business can still carry on while I'm tied up in negotiations. So for those reasons, looking for some help. Appreciate your support. And if
Can you give us just a little bit of an idea about how this cost is going to affect us? Is this going to be a significant strain on our budget? Do we have finances to this? I have this sheet, Sean, maybe speak to that.
Sure. Yeah, I think through the discussion with the Personnel Committee, we settled on the N4 salary range, which you should see there. Anticipate that for a 30 to 35-hour session, you'll see the range is between 65 and 84. Depending on the locations of the person hired, anticipate roughly around $70,000 range. So the request here, and to be clear, we did talk about this during the budget process. Knew we had an outgoing retiring HR director. We did not have hired HR director. But we discussed during the budget the strong likelihood that, again, and as Jamie said, in an organization of 200 to 250 employees, a one-person HR department doesn't really function well if you're going to do the things we all want to do well: recruitment, retention, benefits administration, onboarding, auditing. The list goes on and on. And Jamie's downplaying it a little bit. He does all of that from soup to nuts, including what was it? Yeah, an orientation of a part-time librarian, I believe, and everything. I mean, you can just imagine how busy her day is. Person again is, I think, sorely needed. We actually build out more robust HR department to make sure we're doing all of the administration of HR that we can. So, in long answer to your question, roughly $70,000 we'd be asking for this to be authorized as early as January. Realistically, even if we posted tomorrow, would we have someone starting January 1st? Maybe likely, just the holiday season and all. But you could estimate for the impact on the budget, and we discussed this at the budget committee before the meeting. Ballpark $35,000 or so.
And those funds are.
And those funds are available. We discussed at the budget. Well, they're not available in terms of expenditure authorization in the budget, which we're asking for authorization to apply. The budget discussion, the budget committee did have a fairly robust discussion about where our current first quarter kind of demonstrates our fiscal picture is for the current fiscal year. We are well. We're having a strong revenue year. And I think the budget committee was supportive that more than offset this request.
And in the Personnel Committee, if I'm speaking for you, Peter, Don, we supported, did you have any comments to add to that? Good. Okay. So we would support, I would like to recommend that we support. But anything else you'd like to add?
Questions?
Anything for you?
Nothing else for me. Thank you.
Any other colleagues have anything to ask?
Question for her, but a comment after.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, now, all right. Not a question for you, Jamie, but thank you. When we discussed in the budget committee earlier, we discussed that the budget did certainly has enough money to be able to afford this slight over expenditure in this department, and there'll be a transfer later in the year when the budget reconciliation happens. There's some good news, some revenue news, and that certainly is a help. So I've been important this strongly.
Okay. Well, I would only add that it's the ambition of the council over the last 7 or 8 years more to really have some kind of a personnel department, only because no fault on anybody prior. There's always with personnel that are just very large and important, and multiple hats can be difficult. So when the council decided to envision you and actually make you happen, so to score anyone like you, and you rose to the fore of the cream of the crop, you're welcome. And I think that's important. Should improve that the town, particularly with the town focusing on labor contracts and conversations beginning as early January. A lot of heavy lifting the town council will be doing in the next term, and you as well. And one I wanted to ask Sean Zebe on this more, as well Peters, but we did over the last term or two have an opportunity to sit in on some of these conversations just as bystanders. We know we have no role to play than the ultimate number that gets delivered and approved a contract. But there was intake on, say, for example, our personnel department. So on the committee here was a sense of what's going on, what's being asked, what's being discussed, and I would like to hope that continues. I think it just helps a lot, and so we hope the generalist will appreciate that as well as the general.
Duly noted.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote on this. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's hard
Thank
to
you.
believe it's here next week. Enjoy. Thank you.
so
Appreciate your
much.
support.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next huge task we have before us is Z, which is approval of the town manager's contract. Ms. Nichols.
Thank you. It's still because the light's not showing.
Yep, we hear you.
Okay, it's my pleasure to present this resolution, number 111423-6. Be it resolved that the town council approves an employment contract for town manager John M. Kimball for the term January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2026, pursuant to the terms presented attached with the following changes. New year, calendar year contract beginning January 1, 2024, salary retroactive to July 1st, 2023. A 4.25% salary adjustment beginning and retroactive to July 1st, 2023. Retirement wage is updated to allow for the contributions to either the 401A or the 457 plan. And fourth is life insurance coverage increasing from 2 times the annual salary to 5 times the annual salary. Be it further resolved that as of July 1st, 2023, this contract shall supersede current contract with term July 2022 to June 30, 2025. Thank you, Peter.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion?
The discussion is the town council reviewed Sean's performance, and I'm happy to be. We're very pleased with his performance, and his goals are exceeded those that we set for him, and then council will be prepared in January or whenever you get to it to reviews for the following year and continue evaluation process. The financial impact of this change is not insignificant, but not, it will be a total of $8,527. So it's not a significant impact to the budget. So I would recommend that we support this, and then I would be happy to turn it over to you, Peter or Don, for any comments of any further things to cap.
This is this one that I'm sure the entire council can agree on. The incoming person chair is not aware of this, but will be as of tonight, that there will be a meeting to discuss the town manager's goals and objectives for the calendar year 24 coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. But absolutely, wholeheartedly, Sean, thank you. You are a pleasure to work with, and we're very lucky to have you here.
You're here. Done.
Mr. Walsh. Yeah. Yes, thank you. And I want to echo what Peter said. We are very lucky to have Sean here. I think maybe he's a little humble, but during our meeting, he said, well, maybe it might be enticing to some other towns, and everyone up knows that any town in this state would take, if not in their state. Sean works very well with the people below him. He works very well with all of us. I don't ever have any issue if we ever need to call him. He's available to us, and if he's not available, he gets back to us immediately. It's a sign of a good leader who really helped this tremendously, and I fully support this contract for him. So thank you.
I'd like to just add one more thing to that. I concur with everything they say, and I want to say always available. You say to me when I ask questions, it's not a bother. That's your job. And I want to say to the people out there that if you need popcorn ceilings from your house, he's an expert, because he stops in what he's doing, covered with all of that, to answer a phone call that's regarding town business. So that's the mark of a dedicated employee.
My wife would disagree that I'm any good. I have tried a couple times.
Ms. Ivana.
Sean, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I agree with everyone. You're so easy to work with. You answer all of our questions, and when we hired you below a lot of the other salary, and I'm very happy to see that you're finally up in the category where you should be. It would be a shame to another town. We're lucky to have you, and I will miss you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean. I'll echo all these things, and thankfully we have the opportunity to work together, continue for the 2 years. It's a pleasure for the last few years on this 6 years, and it really been it was great because coming in at the same time we've been working together. Only downside is you seem to bring a lot of natural disasters with your tenure, so if you could maybe tone that down, it'd be great. But the nice thing is you always handled all of them very, very well and done a great job for the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, you're very unpopular here, Sean. It's clear. I just say that it's always a great work with you. I mean, the range of things you deal with on a daily basis is pretty amazing. I think maybe you should have a little follow the town manager around. You'd probably be a little fascinated by that. And also, I mean, you put together a great team for our town as well, and that's one of your great strengths, I think. In addition to your fine background, but just very stranger, and we are very lucky to have you. So, good job.
Thanks, Tim. Sean, I'd like to echo all those other comments. It's been a pleasure working with you a short amount of time that I have. I've worked with a lot of chief executives in the past, and you really are at the top of the heap. I would like to say one thing that I haven't, and I've appreciated this. At the beginning of my tenure, I was very focused on the culture of the community, culture of service. I think we're here to serve the residents of the town. And that's with us as a council and with you as the chief executive. And you have been a tremendous example of service and how you treat us. I think Sylvia just said, you're always available. You always call back right away. You're always receptive. And your entire team is just your own, the team, media office, the entire staff in the town. I think we're really doing a great job in showing that care about our residents throughout the community and providing the service that's necessary. That starts with you, and so that's something I hope you continue and go forward in your position here. So thank you.
I don't have to, but I want to, because I think Sean has made. Sean has an excellent way of making us understand what we need to understand, and making sure that it's explained to us in a way that allows us to make the decisions. And I think that's the humbleness that he has. I also think he's got a lot of strengths, and that is the team that he's built around him. Jim said that part. I think we've got a great team here in town. As John said, it's very custom trick. It's very custom service oriented, and I'm very grateful for your service. I look forward to being a resident down and under your leadership as town manager.
Well, what can I say? No, I can say a lot because think again, the long-term goals of the council that aren't that long-term, and they go back maybe 8 years or so. We face success at the time, faced a lot of succession challenges. That would be senior leaders. I think we're down to Jim Jett, and he can't go. He's grandfathered in. But there's been change and transition taken place in such a seamless manner. It really has impacted the town positively. I think relationships and tips and all seem to be good. I walk in, whether it's a hire or whatever, everyone seems to be generally happy. I can say in last years, you would hear from that public works guys is so happy. I mean, just once in a while, I'm not sure. But there is a general, I think that pervades town services. Providers are paid professionals, all of them, whatever they serve. And I think that really happens when a leader seems like he's leading, but he's leading in a way that's agreeable. I hate that. Endeavor to myself, and I know you strike out occasionally, and I accept that too. And would expect things for Sean not to overwhelmingly perfect, nor should they be. We are his boss. We continue to be his boss, but as David said, he makes it easy for us to make a decision because he's welcoming of our input and our suggestions. And I know that'll continue. So for sure, I support this. So I'm going to call for vote on that. All those in favor? Opposed? Another unanimous vote. How many of those do we have at a meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you could indulge me for just a second, I just wanted to say thank you for all of the incredible, incredible comments. And I also very much appreciated so many mentions of the team because we really have an amazing team. I appreciate the comments. I take them and welcome them. But I inherited a fabulous team here. I did have a lot of folks that I knew were ready to retire and did retire along the way. I've probably of the 13 department heads. Now it's over half that have been replaced. And I say as a very high standard that I try to hold to make their being and advancing the ball in every case. And I do appreciate very much, most specifically the comments of team because we have an unbelievable team. I'm incredibly proud of them and happy to lead them. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that. So now we move on to this discussion regarding additional positions for fire marshal's office and building department. I don't know if Tom Losier's here with us tonight or Mike Kozlowski. I'm not sure, unless you're just going to make the presentation, Sean, and take it from there.
I will. I know. I was also going to be making this presentation. Unfortunately, she had an issue she had to attend tonight. So I think I'll just give a general overview. It's to be more of a discussion and some recommended referrals issue in the submittal or later on the agenda. But the long and short of this item is, again, no surprise. This has been an ongoing conversation we had even during the performance review about the activity, the amount of activity going on in town. One of the items the budget committee discussed briefly was, you recall, in the last budget estimated we moved up our expected revenues for permit activity to over $1 million. The first time we've probably had budgeted $1 million of building permit, and we have exceeded $500,000 in the first 4 months this year. So we're already. But what it means is there's an incredible amount of activity. Part of the discussion with both Tom Lozier and Mike Kozlowski has been against our building official and our marshal. They also have a high standard of responsiveness. They want to get out there, and they of course have a very high expectation and responsibility to public safety. They're doing their due diligence on every project. With some of these major projects coming on in the past, I was comforted a little to know there are third-party inspections that often either required or presented by the developers of these projects to have those third-party inspections kind of covered under their own costs. But I had learned through the discussions with them, those at the end of the day, our folks still have to sign off on them. And if there's any pieces of those inspections or things that they need to take a deeper dive on, it still takes an enormous amount of time. So I guess it's a long way of saying in those large projects, we can't discount, say, oh, there's third-party fire and building inspections. Still an enormous amount of them, and we have more on the horizon. Stonebridge Crossing and some of these other major projects, and we need to make sure folks are getting timely so that their projects can continue and stay on track. So Tom and Mike are great. They never or rarely cry uncle until they're really at the point where things are sliding so far they can't quite keep up. That's kind of where we are now. This would be a discussion, and we'll be discussing in the upcoming budget, but it's before as at least an initial discussion and referral for consideration at mid-year this year. Again, I think it's very much bolstered by the activity had with respect to permit revenues. Also something that I know Ordinance Review discussed this 6 months ago when we increased building fees. If you recall, the building fees are covered. They cover the building inspection services are intended to offset. We charge separate fees for fire action services. So we discussed at the time at the subcommittee level and a little bit the council well that we'd read this down the line and consider what some towns do, which is a portion or a percentage of that fee that's added on, or maybe it's only commercial or something like that, but that covers the cost because there's no cost to plan reviews, plot plans, making sure fire trucks will circulate and all of those great things. And they aren't really offset by any other review fees as they're going through building department. They still could go through building department, but it might be justification we would set to help offset the costs of the fire inspections. And again, most specifically, the costs of these two positions that we think are sorely needed. So, happy to answer any questions that I can't answer. Happy to continue this discussion. And I think ultimately we wanted to get your feedback on that direction, knowing it's a big ask. But also, the activity level is certainly no secret, no surprise to any of us. And I know we all have same standards of needing to make sure our services are as responsive as they can be. So that's kind of why it's here. And then there's budget and I think personnel referrals kind of recommended as an extension. Thank you.
That makes sense, that we've had the discussion, dipped our toe in it. It's